Hello, welcome to the Realm of Comics. Wait while I adjust this. Make sure you can kind of see somewhat of my head. Can you? You can. Hello, welcome to the Realm of Comics, where we discuss everything graphic novel, manga, and comic related. This is my first time getting to do this video on this channel, so I am going to be doing the best and worst comics, graphic novels, and manga of my reading of 2023 so far. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. Sorry, my nose is like really red. I've been a little, fuzzy up there. But I have done end of the year best and worst because that was around the time that I started this channel. But this is going to be the first time that I'm able to do like kind of a mid-year, which I am super excited about. So what we're going to do here is, as I do on my other channel, we're going to start with the worst first, because I love it to end my videos on a positive note. So we're going to start with the worst, and then we will switch over to the best. For some of these, I have done live shows with Bree from the Lock Petition, and so I will make sure that I link that stuff in the relevant card symbol above somewhere up here in this general area. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the worst ones. First on this list, which is one that I haven't even talked about on this channel yet, it is Jurassic League. And if you see me looking this way, it's because my notes are right there. So this was DC's attempt, I guess, capitalize on everyone's love and appreciation, or a lot of people's love and appreciation, can't say everyone, for dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. And so they took the Justice League and turned them all into dinosaurs. This was so poorly written and so poorly executed. I want to know who approved the hot mess and like said, let's go forward and print this and sell it. Absolutely horrendous. From the names to the switch in artists with the artwork in certain issues I did not enjoy. It looked really chaotic. To some comments that were, the dinosaur that was supposed to be Darkseid making comments towards the Triceratops that was now Wonder Woman, who's Wonder Dawn or something like that. I don't know. Very strange. Yeah, it was some really weird references to her body, like her body being a disappointment. And then like he slaps the fire F-U-C-K out of her. And I am just baffled that this was a thing that DC allowed to happen. I'm usually a DC girl, go strong, love them. I know that they're not always the best, but this was a very poor decision, and it was horrendous and horrible, and it should have never happened. And I'm so happy that I checked it out from the library. As a matter of fact, I lied. I did talk about this one in one of my weekly reading vlogs. It's one of the worst DC productions, y'all, that I have ever read, and I just don't ever want to revisit it in my entire life. The next one that I have on my list is one that I read earlier this year, and it is Kim Reaper. I read this on Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited does have a small selection of graphic novels, manga, and comics that you can check out if you already pay for KU. And Kim Reaper was one of those I was like, oh, I want to try it out, because they do have a lot more indie writers and artists on there that I want to kind of expose myself to, because I do read a lot of the heavy hitters. And I was like, oh, Kim Reaper, this has a cute cover. I will definitely check it out, see what it's all about. And literally it's about a character that has a crush on another character, and she goes to make a move on her. And then she finds out that our second character is actually like a human Grim Reaper. It also was poorly executed. I was just completely baffled by the artwork. I wasn't a huge fan of the artwork. I wasn't a huge fan of the plot development, the character development. Like, none of it really worked for me, which is awful, because I don't like to, and I don't feel like I'm tearing it down, but this was just one that wasn't for me. I think the idea, the premise of a human who's basically had to work out a deal with Grim Reapers to make extra money, I think that that's pretty interesting. And then having another character kind of get caught up in the world because she has a crush on her, I think that that's interesting. I think that's a very interesting premise. But the issue is that the execution did not follow through in the way that I think that it should have. And also for me, of course, with reading art-based forms like books that are art based, if I'm not a fan of the artwork, it usually is hard for me to get into the story. It could be the best storytelling in the world, but the artwork has got to guide it in a way that I can appreciate it. And this one, it was just kind of hard, so I won't be continuing on with that. There is a volume 2, but it's a no-go for me. The third one that I have is Pixels of You. This is more so of a disappointing than a worse. I should have said this is like worse / disappointing, not just completely worse. Pixels of You is a young adult graphic novel that I had been meaning to check out for a while. It's sci-fi. It takes place in this futuristic world where we have humanoid AI, and it reminded me very much so of iRobot. And we get perspectives of 2 characters, one that is AI and one that is human. The issue with this one is that there clearly has been some changes in Earth. There's been some things that have happened where we have these artificial, intelligent, humanoid things that are in some ways evolving, because our AI main character actually, it was kind of noted that she wasn't necessarily conceived, but kind of it's hard to explain. But the issue, and why it's so difficult to explain, is that the creative team behind this work didn't really give us much to go off of in terms of world building. So you're kind of dropped into this whole entire situation. You're like, okay, well, what's the backstory to this? How did we get to this point as a planet? And, you know, how does this world function with the assistance of artificial intelligence? We get none of that. It definitely is just about how our 2 characters are interacting. Our human main character definitely having issues with artificial intelligence and making judgments about artificial intelligence and not really seeing it from a wide perspective. And then the artificial intelligence also having, this robot having presumptions about humans that are not always true. So it was really about the 2 of them kind of taking a step into each other's worlds, but it was just not, it wasn't good development across the board, just put it that way. And then there was some hints at stuff towards the end, but it kind of left it very blah, like assume what you want to assume. And I'm personally not a big fan of stuff like that, so it didn't work for me in that way, which is, you know, it's fine. I did think I ended up giving that one 3 stars because it wasn't that it wasn't an enjoyable story. I just felt like there was some more development that could have happened in terms of the world and also the ending of it. The next one that I have is so disappointing because it's actually a children's graphic novel, and I never thought there would be a day when I would put a children's graphic novel on a list where I'm like, yeah, this wasn't a situation for me. And today is the day that I'm doing it, and it is Pizza and Taco. So this is like a 5, I think book 5 just came out. It's like a 5-book graphic novel series. It's for children. It's not middle grade. It is a children graphic novel series. And I was like, okay, well, I want to read more early graphic novels, ones that are geared towards younger age groups, like 5, 6, 7, because a lot of the graphic novels that I do read that are geared at children are often for an older audience, think 9, 10, 11, and 12. And this should not have been the first one that I gravitated towards because Pizza and Taco were horrible to hamburger and freaking hot dog. So it's about their friendship, Pizza and Taco, and they are voting on like who's the best. So it's kind of this conflict where it's like you have 2 friends, but it's like, oh, I want to be the best, but I want to be the best. And I think that in that sense, some kids would really resonate with those feelings of wanting to be proud of yourself, but also maintain a friendship with somebody, like managing those big emotions, but not necessarily having the emotional intelligence just yet to know how to find that balance. So I like that. But Pizza and Taco were horrible to hamburger and hot dog for no reason. Honestly, they just came into the picture and they were like, basically like, what's going on? We want to vote too. And they were mean to them for no reason. So I was like, that's the part that I don't like, because I feel like just because you, let me see how I can phrase this. I feel like if you and a person are not getting along, you shouldn't project that onto someone else. And I feel like that was what was happening, and I don't know if that's the best message to send out to kids. It's like, well, we're fighting, go away, we don't want to talk to you. And it's like, yeah, but they have nothing to do with the situation, so you can't take out your anger on those individuals. So I feel like in one way we were helping our emotional intelligence, and another way we weren't exactly helping our emotional intelligence. So I had to throw that one on the list, unfortunately. The next one that I had to add on this list is If I Could Reach You. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick a specific volume, because I've read, I think, maybe 2 or 3 volumes of this series this year, and maybe even more. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but I think it's about 2 or 3 volumes. And I struggled with this greatly. I think really honestly volume 6 is what kind of pushed me into including this one. And volume 6 really honestly was a 3-star read, but I am very kind of like in limbo with the series, and I only have 1 more volume left. It's a 7-volume series, and I'm like, I don't even really care at this point. So basically, If I Could Reach You is supposedly a Yuri title, but the way that this whole series has been going, I'm like, is this really your Yuri title or not? We're following a main character who essentially is in love with her sister-in-law. That, I mean, basically that sums it up. She lives with her brother and her sister-in-law. They take care of her, and she realizes that she has grown to have feelings for her sister-in-law over the years. She takes a long time to really express those feelings, and of course, naturally, things are going to go left when that happens. But I also think that the mangaka tried to create some type of convenience where there was issues between the brother and the sister-in-law in their marriage, and it was just, it's a constant like push and pull and back and forth, because I feel like our main character really puts herself on the line, but the sister-in-law is just kind of like, she doesn't put a stop to it or push the relationship forward, and it drives me absolutely crazy. And so I just feel like, what is the point of this? Like, how is this going to wrap up? Because literally there's no way that this relationship is going to work. So why don't you just stop it and just let it bygones be bygones? Because it's like you selfishly want to keep the main character for your own safety and comfort, because that's your companion, because your husband is not acting right, but you know that this girl has feelings for you. And so I just feel like some parts of it are kind of jacked up, and I just don't see how we could effectively wrap up this entire situation in 1 more volume. And the volumes are not text heavy. It's a lot of artwork, and so in a short period of time, I don't know how we can get from point A to point B and really resolve this relationship or whatever it is at this point. But it's just so all over the place, to the point where I'm like, I was going in thinking like, okay, this could be an interesting Yuri title, but then as I keep going through it, I'm like, it's kind of like up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like, is it really Yuri? Is it not Yuri? Like, I feel like you got this girl just on a complete goose chase, and whatever. I may not even read volume 7, to be honest with you. I probably just won't. I'm probably not going to care. Not gonna lie to you. All right, so now that we got all the funky stuff out the way, let's talk a little bit about my best read so far this year. The first one, of course, is going to be the New Kid series by Jerry Craft. That includes New Kid, Class Act, and School Trip. School Trip just came out in April of this year. I'm not going to talk too much about the series because of the fact that Brie and I did just a whole live show discussion last week on this series. We read all 3 volumes for our Realm of Comics book club. They're fantastic. 5-star series for me. Absolutely amazing. Jerry Craft is an amazing human. I think that each one of the selections in the series has so much to offer. And I love that Jerry Craft really pays homage to all of the people who have influenced him in terms of like graphic novel creators and middle grade writers and some of his, you know, colleagues and peers. So, you know, we see everything from Odes to like Amulet. There's stuff to the Bone series by Jeff Smith. There was some, I guess, references at the very end of School Trip, which I love, to Raina Telgemeier. So Smile and and drama, and like I was just like, oh, this is so great. And then there was scenes where he included Jason Reynolds, Renee Watson. I loved that in the sense that these are, he did it tactfully, because I've seen it in some middle grade books where it's like, I'm just throwing my friends in because my friends. But I think that he did it in a way where these are also authors that have very strong connections with the kids that would be reading these books. And it was also a great way for him to introduce other graphic novels to readers who are very much so interested, if I can get the word out, very much so interested in middle grade graphic novels. So I loved it. Five-star series. 5-star series. The next one that I have on this list is another series, and it's the Apothecary Diaries. Have I essentially stopped reading the Apothecary Diaries because I'm on a book buying ban and I don't know if I'm going to ever get access to the other volumes? Absolutely. But from what I have read, which is volumes 1 and 2, they both were 5-star reads, y'all. Or at least they were 4 and 5. Either way, highly rated. Love them. It follows a main character who is working for one of the emperor's wives. So he has multiple wives and they all have very different personalities, but she's a medicinal specialist. That's why apothecary. So she's very good at I would say herbal natural medicine. And so each book seems to have like this conflict or this issue that she's resolving through her knowledge of medicine, and it is the most fascinating thing. The feminist undertones of this manga are chef's kiss as well. The artwork is amazing. I know the anime is coming out. I fangirl, and I haven't even made it far into the series, but Apothecary Diaries is what's up. Like, if you have not read the Apothecary Diaries, you're absolutely missing out. Very, very well put together manga, and I am looking forward to one day being able to continue the rest of the series when I get my money up. The next one that I had to include, y'all know for a fact, like I was not finna do this list without including James Tiny, and I don't know why I just got so happy and so amped about the fact that I have a James Tiny title on this, because of course I'm gonna have James Tiny on this list. Like, what? Duh. So Bree and I also read The Nice House on the Lake. I will make sure that I link that live show in the card symbol above. Phenomenal. That discussion was so much fun. The theories that we came up with, oh my gosh. So I have to tell you as much as I can tell you without spoiling it, essentially. So The Nice House on the Lake is a science fiction comic series. It's short, it's only 12 issues, 2 volumes, and it focuses on these groups of, it's a group of humans who have been isolated in this lake house because it's the end of the world. And literally, I swear to you, that's all I can tell you, because there's like literally like nothing else that I can tell you about it. Like literally nothing. Because I don't want to accidentally project my theories or assumptions about this series on you at all. Only thing I can tell you is you need to read it. Now, one of the hiccups about this, because I just want to be honest, is that it's a lot of characters. So take your time with it. Get to know everybody. Everybody has code names and such. And I don't know why I'm so excited and like really just energetic about this, because I'm just love James Tiny. Because I just love James Tiny so much. But I need you to pick it up. Just pick it up. Just read it. Read it, read it, read it, read it. The next one that I have on my list is The Prince and the Dressmaker, which is one that I read for the Trans Rights Readathon and talked a little bit about on my other channel, but really, 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 really enjoyed that one. It was a 5-star read and made me so emotional. I don't know why it took me so long to read it. I own a copy. Don't know why I'm not showing it, because editing me is going to be like, she could have just picked up the book and put it, you know, held it. So you don't have to do an image insert, but it's fine. Whatever. Either way, this is another young adult graphic novel that focuses on a dressmaker that is basically being used for her talents, not really making any money until somebody from the palace spots her design and is like, basically, we want you to come and be the dressmaker, seamstress. She doesn't really know the specific details of the job until she gets there, and then she realizes that it's actually the prince, who likes also to go out and wear dresses and put on makeup, and so she is asked not to disclose that information to anybody. But what I loved about this is that there's this exploration about the complexity of bearing someone else's secrets, and so the two of them kind of have to work out this issue between the two of them, where she wants to be able to blossom as a seamstress and he wants to be able to go out and be whoever he wants to be, but they're so intertwined that if either of their secrets are revealed, it destroys the other. So it's hard. It's extremely hard, and they have to navigate that, and things are not exactly perfect, but the love that is shared between these two characters is beautiful. It's beautiful. There was a specific panel about the interaction between the seamstress and the king that just, it made my heart go because it was just amazing. I loved it. That was an easy 5-star read for me. And the last one on my list is one that I recently read. You'll hear about this first before you see it during my weekly reading vlog, and that's Parachute Kids by Betty C. Tang. I just posted a review on it on my Instagram as well. This is a middle grade graphic novel that follows 3 kids who are siblings, and they're parachute kids. Their parents have brought them to America under the guise of coming here for a trip, and actually they brought them here from Taiwan because they want to leave them here for better opportunities. So the idea of a parachute kid is not something that is unusual to the Asian community. It happens a lot, but we're getting to see it through the perspective of these 3 kids who have to manage taking care of each other on their own without direct adult supervision. They have a family friend that looks on time to time, but essentially they're taking care of themselves. There's a lot of up and downs, and throughout reading this, there's a lot of, as soon as they get on track, something else falls apart. As soon as they get on track, something else falls apart. But I think what the creator was attempting to do is showcase the fact that it was never going to be a perfect situation. And you have to kind of come to terms with that, in that you may have stereotypes about a community, but you never know what it has taken that community to get to that point. And I love that there was discussions about not all communities being a monolith. I love that there was discussions about sexuality and identity. I loved that this was bittersweet. And I'm starting to appreciate a lot more middle grade graphic novels, middle grade books in general, that are based in realism and not giving this, oh, bow on top, perfect, everything's gonna be fine, you're great, ta-da. Because a lot of kids are living these experiences and they don't see their experiences carried all the way through, because some of these experiences don't have a perfect ending. It may be an ending that's okay for the moment, but it's not everything gets solved at the end. And so I really appreciated it. It was a tough read, and it is a long read. It's very text heavy, but the first time that I had ever heard about Parachute Kids is when I read Kelly Yang's book Parachutes. So now going back and being able to read this in another format with a younger audience, I really appreciate it. And I'm hoping that Betty C. Tang comes out with some other works, or that we get to revisit these 3 kids in the future, because it was absolutely phenomenal. All right, y'all, let me know in the comments below what has been your favorite comics, graphic novels, and manga that you've read this year so far. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll be back with another video soon.